Hello and welcome to day 3 of your free yoga challenge with me, Danielle Rinaldo, the founder of Pele Yoga here in downtown Rochester. And today I'm coming to you with an introduction to our style of yoga called Pele Melt. And this style of yoga is inspired by yin yoga. Yin yoga is in contrast or in complement to our yang or yang practice. So yesterday you had an experience with Pele Flow, which is about invigoration and this active part of our practice. And today balances that out with this quality of yin or acceptance or surrender. And both are really keys to our overall well-being, right? We have to have this action in alignment with our values to move ourselves forward or to be productively engaged in our lives. And then also this quality of surrender. I'm excited you're here. I'm grateful that you're choosing to participate and encourage you to roll out your mat and take some time to practice with me.
And I'm going to do this yin practice without any props necessary. However, if you do have a bolster or a block at home, or even just a couple pillows from your couch, you can use those as support as we practice, and I'll prompt you for that option as we move through the shapes. In yin yoga, we'll be holding the shapes a little bit longer than in a yang or more active practice, and they'll be more grounding or softening shapes. You might be wondering what the difference is between a yin practice and a restorative practice. In a restorative practice, you might build up a little fort or find a shape where you feel no sensation at all, and the practice is to simply practice relaxing there. So in a yin practice, in Pele Melt, we're still engaging with sensation, and then we're softening around that sensation. Okay, let's get started. So we're going to start laying down on our backs. So join me. Extending your legs out in front of you. Arms can go wide and down by your side, or if it feels better, one hand on your heart and one on your belly can be a nice way to begin. And then the invitation is to, like in any yoga class, start to make a connection with your breath. Just noticing it. Maybe through the noticing, it will ultimately or automatically start to lengthen. Using the breath as an anchor to start to bring your mind into the present moment and call your mind into your body. Okay, so you can begin to track sensations and just notice how you're feeling on the mat. A yin practice or the Pele Melt practice helps us cultivate this skill of noticing more subtle sensations. So the invitation is to keep your mind on your breath. Maybe the eyes stay closed and turning inwards, or you can open them, just let them be soft in their gaze. And then breathing as you feel your knees draw in towards your chest, and no rush. So tracking, again, what it feels like on the way there, which also gives you access to supporting yourself through that transition, engaging through the low belly. And then the invitation is to rock side to side. Just gently feeling the outer hip stretch, a little bit of massage along the tailbone. And there's no right or wrong way to do this, meaning you don't have to stay with my pace of rocking or breathing. It's about your own self-inquiry. Good, as you're ready, you're going to let your hips scoot a little bit to the right and let both knees fall off to the left. Now, this is a spot where if you have a pillow nearby, it might feel yummy to slide the pillow in between your knees or underneath both your knees, especially if you feel like you're brushing up against too much sensation, letting the knees fall all the way over. Now, what's too much sensation? Any sharp pain in your back or an inability to connect to a long, deep breath. So let those be your compass. Let those two pieces be your compass to make adjustments. Right, or it might just feel yummier to provide yourself a little bit more support to ease into. But again, we are seeking some sensation, not a lack of sensation. So you can find that sweet spot, and then once you've found a spot to land in, the invitation is to, again, like refocus your mind on the breath and start to watch it do its thing in the body. You might be able to direct your breath to your heart center all the way down to your low back. You can pick a spot to direct your breath and then sending your breath there, which I get it, like your breath can't actually go all the way down to your low back physiologically, but if you notice, if you try it, just placing your attention there, sending the breath there will change the experience. You may be able to feel this ballooning out, sending this fresh life force energy to that spot, and then feeling on the exhales an opportunity to soften, relax, or let go. So tracing the breath, and for some of us, we're going to stay in these shapes for a few moments, few minutes. For some of us, being still can be really uncomfortable. And so one of the things that makes Pele Melt different than a traditional yin yoga class, in my experience, is that there's also an invitation to engage in subtle movements in each of the shapes as a way to anchor the mind and encourage it to focus, encourage the body to slow down without forcing it, right? So I guess there's that element of vinyasa here in that we're honoring the natural unfolding process of our practice in life without forcing. So if you want to, rocking the head side to side as I am and tracking the sensation of the base of your head along the mat as it rolls along the mat. As you do that, you might find little spots to really pause or move more slowly and oscillate your attention between that movement, that pausing, and the effect of the breath. Maybe softening through the eyebrows and the face. and giving your weight over to the earth. A common visualization or invitation is to surrender into the support that you have. So in this case, the ground. Letting go of whatever you need, letting it recirculate into the earth. So that what you're left with is more of a clean slate. One more breath here, maybe a sigh out of your mouth. So good. Being mindful through the transition, bringing your knees back up through center. Again, maybe that engagement through your low belly. So there's consideration for safety through the transitions, and then resetting. So in each yin posture, there's an opportunity as we come out to notice the effect of the shape and let the body rinse out or recenter. So rocking your knees side to side once again. In a slow or a quick pace. And then finding the shape on the other side, the knees scoot off to the right as the hips go a little bit to the left. Maybe transitioning your pillow or block in between your thighs on the other side. Right, finding the general shape, finding a shape that you can work with. Again, no sharp pain, and maintaining access to your breath are two great key points to use as a guide to see if you're in an effective spot. Right. Still noticing some sensation, probably on the outer left thigh, or rotation in the spine, an opening in the shoulder, front side shoulder. And then finding breath where you've landed. Right, and as we explore these shapes and explore the practice, right, we can sometimes clearly see the parallel for life. And if not, I'll offer you the launch point for consideration here in that, often in this life, in my experience, we are encouraged to take on, new challenges and that our character is really revealed during times of challenge. And it's been important for me and useful to use what I've learned in this practice, this finding a sweet spot of enough sensation, enough engagement with my life that it is building my character. It's allowing me to feel happy and alive without crossing over into that, sharp pain or overwhelm threshold. Right, and same on the other end, if I'm not feeling any sensation or any stimulation, I'm equally not feeling healthy. So as we learn to navigate in this shape, in these shapes, that sweet spot, I think we're more equipped to tap into the sensation of that right amount of effort, productive amount of effort, productive amount of challenge. as we navigate through our life. Right? And that can be different every day too, and we notice that on the mat. Continue to adapt or adjust the shape as you come up against sensation. Support yourself with breath. And then finding your way out. So rolling back to center. Again, finding a way to do that safely. The feet could even come on the ground as you scooch your hips back in alignment with your spine and then bring the knees in and rinse that side off by rocking side to side. All right, and so good to have a rinse or a reset after taking on something. Feeling that here. Extend the legs up towards the ceiling for a moment. You could do this one leg at a time or both legs, and just trying to feel the backs of the legs stretch. You could point or flex the feet, or you could just let the feet dangle. Then cultivating awareness and being gentle in the way that you're engaging with your body and sensation. And staying tethered to the breath. Great. And then hugging the knees back in. Two options. You could either roll to one side to sit up, or you can rock up to a seat, depending on the level of intensity you'd like. And then the invitation is to extend your left leg out in front of you. Bring your right foot in to your inner thigh. Great. And I suppose for this shape, let's do where the leg is coming directly out of your hip socket. So rather than to the side, it's coming forward. If you'd like, you can place that block or blanket underneath your right knee. And then we're starting to hinge forward a little bit, and the invitation is to take a flat back first. You may not go very far, and that's okay. You know, allowing it to be what it is, working with how your body is today, and knowing that you engaging with the practice at whatever depth these shapes show up as makes an impact. You breathe here, you might feel a softening in the right hip crease. Great, and then the invitation is to round forward, and we'll be here for a few breaths. You could let your palms go face up in a gesture of releasing. You could support yourself here, snag onto your calf or your thigh, or sometimes it feels nice to create like a little shelf for your head. So you can use your hands, maybe stacking your fists, or somehow supporting your head. And then breathing into your low back. Continuing to trace your breath with your mind. And notice how your body responds. Again, you might play with that expansion or feeling your back widen on the inhale and then the softening or settling on the exhale. And it's not about becoming a total puddle. There's still a sense of engagement for the sake of safety and for the sake of maintaining the structure of the shape. And within that structure, how can we soften around the edges? Good. Once you're ready, take your time. Take a few breaths. You're going to roll the spine up and you walk the hands in. And when we soften in these shapes, the body can become a little bit vulnerable. And so it's part of the practice to engage with that vulnerability and then experiment with how to navigate in and out with quality of compassion. Great, let's hit that reset point. So both feet on the ground, knees together. You could even curl over and bring your forehead towards your knees. For a breath or two. And then if you're ready, we'll transition onto the other side. So the right leg will extend out. Your left foot comes in. Again, you might place a block or a blanket or a pillow under your bent knee. And then start to play with this side where you're drawing back through the right hip. So we're maintaining that structure and we're just starting to say hello to a little bit of a forward fold. You might play with softening your shoulders a little bit. And as you're ready, playing with draping the spine over. So now rounding through the spine. Maybe building that shelf with your hands, finding some support. And then breathing here. Okay, the left hip crease might soften. Breathing into the low back. And then playing with depth of breath. Placement of your mind. And softening around the edges in this shape. And notice how things change. I think this practice gives us insight into the ever-changing nature of things. And as we slow down a bit and train our focus, we can notice that maybe more acutely. And so noticing shifts in sensation, noticing cause and effect based upon where your mind is or where your attention is. And then also this empowerment to make adjustments as you get new information. You can change the hand placement, support back out a little bit, or lean in. Really awesome. But as you're ready, continue to breathe and then roll the spine back up. Again, being gentle with yourself. And coming back to center. Maybe let a sigh out. And then feet together, arms cradle around your legs. Letting your head drop. And again, resetting. Breathing in, breathing out. So good. Really nice. Really, really nice. Great. Now we're going to do a gentle back bend. The one that I'm going to bring us through could be a little bit tricky, so I'm going to give you a few options, okay? So bringing your your right heel back by your right butt. Yeah, this may be enough, right? You're going to start to feel some sensation on the front of your thigh, maybe in your hip crease because it's rotating a different way. The thing to look out for here is to make sure that there's no pain in the knee. If there's pain in the knee, I invite you to sit up on a blanket or a block, or you can slide down onto your side and snag onto the foot behind you. Otherwise, if you're here with me, we're going to start to just gently walk the hands back a little bit. Doesn't matter how far. In fact, that's a part of the practice, right? A part of the process is trying something on, feeling its effect, and then adjusting or adapting. Now, some of you might be able to lean all the way back. Some of you might want to slide a block or pillow underneath your back if you're close. You might come down on your forearm. Might come down on one forearm. Again, the goal, or what we're seeking here, is some sensation on the front of the thigh, maybe an opening in the hip flexor, and then you're feeling a bit of compression in the low back. No pinching in the low back, so you might scoop a little bit through your low belly to still provide traction or length in the lumbar spine as you're engaging in this back bend. And then breathing where you are. One breath at a time. And playing with that softening around the edges wherever you are. Good. Couple ways you can come out of this shape. And if you'd like to stay for a few more breaths, you do it. You could always swing that leg out in front of you and just roll onto your back if that feels like a more accessible or convenient transition. Or you can walk the hands back in to lift your chest up, and then the leg stretches back out in front of you. Either way, find your way back up to a seat, extending both legs out, and then notice. Feel what the difference is, maybe between one side and the other, and let things reset. Great, and then finding it on the other side, swinging your left heel back by your left hip, adjusting maybe a blanket or a block underneath your butt if that's useful, or laying down on your side, and then starting to walk the hands back, continuing to trace the breath. Good. And it's okay if both sit bones aren't completely connected to the earth. We're softening towards that. Again, primary considerations are no pain in the knee, a stretch on the front side of the left thigh, a little compression in the low back. And so you set yourself up in a shape that you can be in for a few moments. And then trace the breath to really activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Right, which allows the body to soften around some intensity, and we still have access to that beautiful, cognitive brain of ours. If it's too much sensation, if we really are in crisis, our adrenaline kicks in, we are in fight or flight or freeze for a reason. So in that case, we have to address, what the pain point is or what the struggle is, so that we can come back to a place where we're at a baseline to engage with life. Okay. Yeah, and then sometimes we're way stressing out when we're not necessarily in a panic mode. And so calling on our breath, or when we shouldn't be in panic mode, when the reaction doesn't meet the stimulus. And so a practice like this can help us engage with sensation and learn to soften around it and with it. Good. As you're ready, coming out of this shape, again, being gentle with yourself through the transitions, either rolling to one side or coming up and swinging that leg around. Again, noticing the difference between the two sides. And then we're going to do a forward fold with both legs extended out. So allowing yourself right away to round. Breathing into your low belly. Letting the whole spine drape over, the shoulders round, so there's a widening across the back side of the heart. And again, we're not efforting in this shape. There's a place for efforting. Amen. And in this practice, we're practicing allowing. So rather than snagging onto your feet or onto your calves, the invitation is to instead focus your attention on your breath and then see how you can soften into the shape and notice how the sensation shifts or how things change, not by efforting, but by allowing in this circumstance. Good. As you're ready, rolling the spine back up. So good, so good. I'm just going to change my perspective, but you can stay right where you are. The invitation is to plant the feet down. Press the hands down back behind you, fingers facing forward if that's okay. And then lifting the heart up. You can keep your booty on the ground, or it might feel nice to lift it up. I'm going to keep mine down right now. So you're just, again, winging the tail back, winging the heart up. So it's another back bend. Right. And then releasing that. Digging your heels into the mat, reaching your arms out, and then starting to curl back one vertebrae at a time. Continue to breathe through the challenge, and then finding your way all the way back down onto your back. Great. Arms go wide, legs long. Good. Hugging both knees back into your chest. Again, that rock side to side. And this time you're going to cross the right ankle over the left knee. So we're going to come into a figure 4. Your hands will slide through that hole that's made with your legs and grab onto the back of your left thigh if that works for you. And then here we are. You should feel potentially or most likely a stretch in the outer right hip. Just going to soften back through the shoulders. And then giving yourself time to feel into the shape, to watch the breath, and then notice the effects of that on your whole body. As I said before, sometimes there's an encouragement of continuing a small movement in the shape as another anchor, so you could very gently rock side to side. And a little massage on the low back. And as an investigation in tracing sensation and how little shifts, small shifts, can make a big difference in where we feel things. Good, and then we're going to take one more twist. You may keep your legs exactly where they are and then let that right foot drape all the way over to the left. That might be accessible for you. If that's true, you might grab onto that right foot with your left hand as an anchor. If not, maybe you just come back to stacking both knees. Either one is fine. I'm just re-saying hello to the low back and outer hip and this rinse and this twist. And noticing how it's similar to the start of class, but it's not exactly the same because our body's different. Things have shifted, and so we'll have a different experience of it now if we allow ourselves to, or allow ourselves to notice it, right? And it doesn't mean it's going to be better, or it doesn't mean that it's going to be worse. It just means, okay, what adjustments can I make now in this shape? To have it work for me now. Try to feel the breath. And then come back to center. Bring both knees back into your chest. Ooh, a little rock side to side for that reset. And then playing with the thread the needle or figure 4 stretch on the other side. So the left foot crosses over the right knee. You might grab onto the back of the right thigh. Sometimes that's too much. Sometimes the low back will roll up if we're really trying to reach for that leg. And so if that's the case, you can allow your arms to stay back. There's even an option where you can do this against the wall, and the bottom foot can anchor against the wall. Or you might just place it on a block or on your pillow, or can hold it up in the air like I am. Okay, and we're finding, again, this right amount of effort or this productive amount of effort that keeps us in the shape in a healthy and productive way. And then figuring out where are the spaces where maybe I'm hanging on that I don't need to, that I can soften. Or breathing into sensation to notice how that might shift. Good. Maybe that rock side to side. If that provides you some interesting sensation. Or stillness. And just watching the movement of the breath. And as you're ready, finding the twist on the second side, potentially, keeping the legs as they are and letting the left foot drape all the way over to the right. You might snag that foot with your right hand or not. Again, finding a shape that gives you some interesting sensation. And then practicing softening. Good. And again, if you move, it's not like you've lost at yoga. You're winning. You're winning because you're here and you're doing it. And you're breathing. You're experiencing something. But imagine you're learning something. Good. As you're ready, coming back to center, releasing that side. And we will head into our Shavasana. Extending your legs long. Again, maybe arms down by your side, wide, or a little bit closer to the body or on the body if that feels supportive. Maybe one hand to your heart, one to your belly. If your low back feels sensitive, you can bring your feet up onto the ground, letting both knees fall towards one another and the feet go wide. So taking as much care with Shavasana as you have done with the other shapes, and finding a shape you can settle in for a few moments. Remembering you can rock your head side to side as a way to kind of windshield wiper the mind and clear the slate. Eyes can be closed or open softly to one point, and then feel the ground underneath you. Let yourself be supported by the ground, giving your weight over to the earth, and letting yourself take this active rest. All right, Shavasana isn't quite a nap, although if you fall asleep, it just means you really were tired and that's what you needed, and that's fine. Shavasana, in Shavasana, we are still aware. For a certain amount of alertness as we play with a certain amount of rest. Good. If you haven't yet, maybe slide one hand to your heart, one to your belly, or both hands to your heart. Just in a gesture of acknowledgement, right? For carving out this time for a willingness to participate, to engage in a practice that supports your well-being. And as you are ready, you could either roll over to one side or roll directly up. In any case, we'll meet in a seat, either cross-legged or kneeling. Taking your hands to heart center, maybe palms pressed together at your heart in the Anjali Mudra or Namaste Mudra, or again, palms pressing onto your heart center. Closing your eyes and taking a deep breath in, and then open your mouth, sigh it out, and let it go. Beautiful. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Bringing your thumbs to your third eye so we see one another through this computer screen and acknowledge one another by saying namaste. Namaste. Awesome. Thank you so much for being a part of this, for taking the time to practice this yin side of the coin, right? So we can you made the effort, you pressed play, and then we were able to practice this softening or this allowing, which is the other piece or a piece of the whole of our wellness or our ability to engage. If you are not officially enrolled in this free yoga challenge, please pop over to the Pele Yoga website, Pele Yoga, P-E-L-E yoga.com/free yoga challenge. And stay tuned, keep going, and I look forward to sharing with you how you can earn a free month of unlimited yoga right here in the studio, and I look forward to seeing you here soon. Namaste.